Welcome to Streaming Into the Voids, What's New in Streaming, where we discuss the highlights of what's available for you to stream the week of January 6th. I'm Kim Hollis, and with me are Raul Burial, Tim Brady, and David Mumpower. We'll start with Hulu and Echo Season 1, which will debut on January 9th and will be available on both Hulu and Disney+. It is the first MCU series to be available on both Hulu and Disney+, and the first one to be rated TVMA. Following the events of Hawkeye in New York City, Maya Lopez is being pursued by Wilson Fisk's organization, leading her to return to her hometown in Oklahoma, where she must come to terms with her past, reconnect with her Native American roots, and embrace her family and community.
If we hadn't included that it directly follows Hawkeye, I would not have known this was part of the MCU just from the description.
We have rewatched Hawkeye recently, and one of the things that come across is what magnificent character Echo is. Maya Lopez has been damaged since childhood, and she had no idea because Kingpin was using her. He killed her father and then became the de facto father to her. And as you might imagine, that has caused some psychological trauma. And I had such high expectations about this. And then reports came in that it frankly wasn't good. So I have lowered my expectations completely. In fact, we talked about an HBO series in 2023 called The Idol, and we just mocked it mercilessly because they filmed 6 episodes and they could only air 5. They could only find that much footage. Well, the same thing has happened with Echo, but then something strange has happened, which is the early reviews for this are really good. So maybe they have tightened it in a way that works. I'm excited. At a minimum, I've set the bar at it should be better than Secret Invasion, and everything can clear that bar, right, Kim?
Yes, everything can.
David, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe they're dropping all episodes of the season on the same day, which is unusual for a Marvel series these days.
Yes, Marvel has really experimented. I mean, starting on December 22nd, they debuted What If, 1 episode per day for 9 days, and now they're going to drop 5 episodes of Echo, which means from December 22nd through January 9th, that's suddenly out of nowhere, 14 new episodes of the MCU, which is more than 2 full series worth of episodes based on how Disney Plus has approached this so far. Echo's really interesting for a lot of reasons, and we haven't even talked about the fact they've created a new brand for it. This is Marvel Spotlight, which means it is not attached to the bigger MCU story arcs. It is just a single, standalone, small-scale story.
Our other new Hulu release is Self-Reliance, coming January 12th.
Tommy receives an invitation to win $1 million by playing a game where he must outwit hunters attempting to kill him. He realizes the hunters can only attack him when he's alone, but none of his friends and family believe the game is real. This is written, directed, and starring Jake Johnson with Anna Kendrick and Andy Samberg. This is a comedy. I loved the trailer. It really seemed like a lot of fun. I like the characters that Jake Johnson chooses to play on film, and I am going to be watching this on the day it comes out.
A+ cast right there.
It really is. I love Jake Johnson. Okay, we move on to Netflix and Pete Davidson, Turbo Fonzarelli, coming January 9th.
From his childhood crush on Leonardo DiCaprio to the disturbing gift he got from a stalker, comedian Pete Davidson cuts loose in this stand-up special. Do we need this?
No, we do not need more Pete Davidson in general.
He seems to be popular with a certain demographic, so...
Yep. He does. Next up from Netflix is Breakpoint Season 2, coming January 10th.
The world's top tennis players return to the courts and set their sights on glory once again during another grueling Grand Slam season.
Yeah, this is another season of Netflix's documentaries on sports like they've done for Formula One and golf as well. It makes sense for them. They're not signing those big sporting contracts, but they're doing these documentaries that seem to do well for them.
On January 10th from Netflix is The Trust, A Game of Greed, Season 1. In this reality series, strangers compete to share $250,000. Will they split it evenly or cut each other out to raise their take?
Sounds like a cross between the Mole and the Traitors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that for a moment.
Mm-hmm. On January 11th is After Everything, the final chapter.
No.
Heartbroken and suffering from writer's block, Hardin heads to Lisbon to make amends with his past so he can focus on building a future with Tessa. This is yet another film in the After series and presumably the last one.
That's what they said about the last one, too.
For anyone listening to this outside of North America, apparently this will be streaming on Prime Video everywhere else.
You've been warned. I don't know what the deal is with these. Like, even for this kind of story, this one mystifies me. Every time a new After film comes out on Vudu, it is the #1 title on Vudu for about 6 weeks, and they all suck. It makes no sense whatsoever. There was one kernel of one story, and they've stretched it into, what is this, 5 films now? I don't know what's happening, but I reject everything about this, and I honestly cannot believe there is another one because the marketing for the last one was, this is it. That's it. Bye.
Yep, here we are. But if you're looking for a limited series, our next offering is Boy Swallows Universe, coming January 11th.
A young boy growing up in the suburbs of 1980s Brisbane faces the harsh realities of life and the looming dangers that threaten his family.
This is based on a popular book, so I guess we'll see what happens there. Another January 11th release is Champion Season 1.
In this British series, rapper Bosco is free from prison and ready for a comeback until his sister Vita steps into the spotlight and puts their family bond to the test.
This is another one that's kind of like Peaky Blinders and from the same production company, I believe, was released in England to pretty good reviews. Now it's making its way to Netflix in North America. Next up is Detective Forst Season 1, coming January 11th. This Polish crime drama is based on a popular book series. When a detective's maverick approach to investigating gets him fired, he teams up with a journalist to solve a series of brutal murders outside the law. Another January 11th Netflix release is Killer Soup Season 1.
In this Hindi language black comedy / crime thriller, Swati dreams of owning a restaurant. But when murder derails her plans, she and her lover, who looks identical to her husband, take an outrageous step. Oh, I just understood the title and I'm so skeeved out.
Yep, seems icky. But black comedy, so who knows? And our final January 11th Netflix release, they had quite a bit for that day, is Sonic Prime Season 3.
Season 3.
Apparently.
When Nine steals the Paradox Prism to create a world all for himself, Sonic must team up with unlikely allies to protect the Shatterverse as he knows it.
A couple of questions. 1, what's a Paradox Prism? And 2, what's a Shatterverse?
I too have multiple questions.
Okay, there are a couple of releases on January 12th from Netflix. The first one is titled Lift. A professional thief and his expert crew attempt the ultimate heist, stealing $500 million in gold from a vault on a plane 40,000 feet in the air. The film is directed by F. Gary Gray, so if it sounds a little bit Fast and Furious-y, you'll know why. And stars Kevin Hart, Gugu Mbatha Raw, Vincent D'Onofrio, Jean Reno, and Bern Gorman.
Was this not the plot to Money Plane?
Maybe.
You'd have to find someone who actually watched Money Plane to know, but that does sound familiar.
Well, don't you worry. People will watch this, so it'll do just fine. And the final release from Netflix this week is Love is Blind Sweden, coming January 12th.
Oh, it's the version everyone's been waiting for. The unique dating experiment lands in Sweden as local singles seek true love and propose marriage, all before seeing each other in person.
Sigh. Let's move on to Peacock and Ted Season 1, coming January 11th.
Seth MacFarlane's Talking Bear returns in this comedic prequel event series to the Ted films. It's 1993, and Ted the Bear's moment of fame has passed. He's now back living home in Framingham, Massachusetts with his best friend, 16-year-old John, along with John's parents and their cousin Blair. Ted may be a lousy influence on John, but at the end of the day, he's a loyal pal who's always willing to go out on a limb for friendship. I cannot believe that we've had this many sequels and spin-off series from that stupid bear movie.
The trailer is good. They even poke fun at streaming services in it, so it's self-aware.
And at least a couple people who are talking here on this podcast will be very excited about this next one. It is The Traitors Season 2, coming January 12th.
Alan Cumming will be welcoming a new set of strangers into the Scottish mansion, including Trishelle, CT, and Johnny Bananas from The Challenge, Parvati Shallow and Sandra Diaz-Twine of Survivor, Michael Jordan's son Marcus, for some reason the former Speaker of the UK House of Commons, and other stars of other reality series. No civilians this time, like in the first season, where it was about half and half. So it's all reality show veterans or people of some notoriety.
I love when we rattled off the list of competitors. Kim and I both said, "Oh, Sandra Diaz, yeah, she's got this."
If she's the traitor, they're all screwed.
Yeah, it's true, though. I did not necessarily realize that Johnny Bananas and CT were here as well. If she manages to connect with them, the rest of the group is going to be in big trouble.
Screw all that. The real story here is that Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son, is now with the ex-wife of Scottie Pippen, and I am here for Chicago Bulls 1990s drama.
Next up on Amazon Prime Video is Roleplay, coming January 12th. Emma has a wonderful husband and 2 kids in the suburbs of New Jersey. She also has a secret life as an assassin for hire, a secret that her husband David discovers when the couple decides to spice up their marriage with a little role play. This film stars Kaylee Cuoco, David Oyelowo, Connie Nielsen, and Bill Nighy.
Mark Wahlberg literally just did this movie.
He did, but I hate Mark Wahlberg and I like Kaylee Cuoco, so this will be a movie that I'll probably watch instead.
Yeah, I mean, with this cast, not only Kaylee Cuoco, David Oyelowo, Bill Nighy, come on, this is great.
Yep, good stuff.
The lesson I take from all this is that after doing a CBS comedy for a decade, Kaylee Cuoco will only accept projects like The Flight Attendant, Harley Quinn in this, where she gets to kill people.
Our final new release for the week comes from Apple TV Plus, and it is called Criminal Record, a limited series, coming January 12th.
Apple TV Plus will premiere the first 2 episodes on January 12th. This 8-episode crime thriller stars one of my favorites, Peter Capaldi, and Cush Jumbo as detectives in a tug-of-war over a high-profile murder case.
I actually also really like Peter Capaldi, so I think that one's worth checking out. Like I said, I think roleplay could be fun because like Kaylee Cuoco and that entire cast, a great deal.
It is a brief week, but it is a strong week. In addition to what I mentioned earlier, the Jake Johnson movie Self-Reliance, I will be watching Echo with my family, as well as The Traitors. I loved the first season. I'm looking forward to the second season. And I may watch that Ted series on Peacock as well. I do seem to watch a lot of stuff on Peacock. And yes, even Criminal Record on Apple TV Plus once I renew my subscription, but that's not happening until the new season of Mythic Quest drops.
And then I'm going to watch Roleplay with Kim, and I will probably give Lift a chance, but only if the early reviews are good.
So go watch something.